Hi guys, this is going to be a mod tutorial on the retractable Comssa. The retractable Comssa is going to look like a normal metallic Comssa, and obviously the thing that is different from a metallic Comssa is that it is retractable. If you can see that there, ink comes out by clicking one of the tips. So it's like a regular pen. You click one tip and ink comes out the other. And you can write with this, obviously, since ink comes out. So yeah, this is going to be a tutorial on how to make this. Honestly, I think it is a really cool pen. I love metallic Comssas. They're like the perfect weight for me. And this just adds more functionality to the regular metallic Comssa. So I don't see why not make it. The materials you're going to need, pen-wise, are a double-capped Comssa, an F301 pen, the Zebra F301, two RSVP ink tubes. One of them, the color matters, the other one it doesn't. And 2 HGG tips, and 1 HGG back plug. That's all you're gonna need, like, for the pens. For actually constructing the pen, you'll need a lot more materials. You'll need tape. I use some, like, regular tape, and packing tape. You'll need a saw blade or a regular saw, an X-Acto knife, a file or drill bit, a ruler, some super glue, and some scissors. And that's pretty much it for the materials. And I'm going to start off by showing you guys how to make the retractable mechanism. So we'll cut to that. Alright, so now we're going to make the retractable mechanism. And one thing I forgot to mention in the materials is you're going to need a rubber band. So if that's super difficult for you to get, because they're super rare, I mean, you can only find these, like, everywhere. Yeah, so if you don't have a rubber band, just use, like, a rubber glove or something like that. But what you're going to do is, first you're going to take your F301 pen, take the clip, and I just bend it back like that. And you're going to take your rubber band. Actually, first you're going to unscrew all of this and take that off. And you're going to take your rubber band and wrap it around the base of the pen. This is just going to give you better grip because you're going to pull the retractable mechanism out of it. So just wrap it on there. Doesn't have to be too tight. And you're just going to grab the base and then grab this black part and twist and pull. This can be difficult, so it may take a little bit. I might have to fast forward this, but I'm gonna just see if I can get this off real quick. Alright, so I got it off. That took a little bit, but that's okay. After that, you won't need any of the front part of the pen or the metal part. So you can use that later or whatever. You won't need this part either. So set that aside, and then all we're going to be dealing with in the retractable mechanism part is this black piece. And first thing you want to do is take the clip completely off. That can just be achieved by some pulling and twisting and stuff. And then you're going to take your RSVP ink tube and you're going to push and take out the 2 white pieces that should be inside the barrel. And these white pieces are very key. You need to save these, otherwise your pen won't work. So if you don't have these, it's not going to work. It's not going to be a retractable pen. It's just going to be a normal metallic Comssa. So definitely save these. And then you won't need this anymore. Next thing you're going to do is just cut this thing down. And the measurements for the cut you're going to make is 2.9 centimeters from the front of the pen and 1.6 centimeters from the back. So I'm going to cut it very quickly, if I can find my saw blade. Alright, so we're just going to take your ruler, measure off like about 2.9. I usually go 2.8 or 2.7, just because if you cut it like 3.0, the pen, you'll lose part of the barrel that you need, so it won't work. So I just cut it a bit small, and then I sand it down. So let me just measure this off. 2.9, like there. Alright, and I'm gonna probably fast forward this. So yeah. Okay, so I just made the first cut. Let me just measure it off again to make sure I cut it right. And that's looking like about 2.5. So I gotta sand this one down quite a bit, but I will do that off camera. And then the other cut, you're just going to take 1.6 centimeters from the back half of the pen. And this is where the clip was. So again, I'm gonna fast forward this, be right back. Alright, so just cut it. These two pieces you can discard, you won't be needing them. And yeah, so what you should be looking for here is on the bottom, there's not really much that you need to look for, but at the top, you'll see here it's a little bit fuzzy because I just finished cutting it, but if you see, it's got a little lip in there. I'll try to bring it into the light. It's got a little lip, and kind of like a Dr. Grip, it's got that little ring on the inside. That is what you need. So you can sand it down until it is just that inside ring. So yeah, you want to sand that down until there's no ridge around that little lip. So I'm just going to sand down this piece. I'll do that off camera, but I'll be right back. Okay, so I have sanded down my retractable mechanism barrel piece, and you want this to be about 2 centimeters. A little bit bigger is okay, a little bit smaller is not okay. So I usually do like 2.3 centimeters. And the way to test if your retractable mechanism will work is you put in the white pieces, the long clicky piece first, and then the more stubby piece next. And just take your RSVP ink and push, like apply pressure this way, and you're going to want to push down on the clicky piece, and if it stops short, you're good. If it doesn't, like if it just keeps going back, that's not good. You messed up somewhere. So you just want to have it so that it works like a normal pen. The ink will go out and then stay out, and then if you click it again, it'll go back in. So that's what you want. And yeah, so the next part is just putting it all together. So what you're gonna do is take one of your HGG tips and your HGG back plug, and make sure that the part with the hole of the HGG back plug is facing away from the tip. So you're going to put the tip on the other side. And you're not going to have to screw this very much. You're just going to push it on there as far as you can. And you'll know you have it right when there's about 0.8 centimeters showing on the edge. So it looks like I just got to that point, so I'm good. Not very difficult. HGG tip is not coming off of there. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to put your little clicky long piece into the black part. And this is very important. It has to be through the hole in the black part before you do the next step. And this next step is taking your tape. I'm using the thinner tape, and you're going to want to put a layer that's pretty thick, about 0.4 centimeters at the edge of this, so that if you put the HGG tip or the HGG back plug over this, it will fit snugly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is not a very difficult part. If you mess up, you can just take the tape right off and retry. So I'm going to cut to when I have this correctly taped. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've taped down the end of my retractable mechanism, and also what you're going to want to do, I did this off camera because I didn't want to cut again, is you're just going to want to cut about, like, I'd say a third of the HGG back plug. You're just going to want to cut that off, and it'll be different for everybody, but what you want to do is you want to cut enough so that the mechanism will work freely. As you can see, it works perfectly. There's nothing that's stopping it. And that's what you want. You want it to just be super smooth and good to go. But if you don't cut it, it'll just get blocked and just stop, and it won't work. So you want to cut off enough so that the mechanism works freely. And once you've done that, you can just put your HGG back plug right on top of your mechanism, and that is it. That's your whole retractable mechanism right there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Next, I'm going to be showing you cutting the caps and the barrel a little bit, and yeah, so I'll be right back with that. Alright, so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be cutting the barrel and the caps of the double-sided Comssa. I've already removed the ink and the back plug from mine, so you're just going to want to do that. Just clean your barrel, and then you can cut it. So for cutting it, what you're going to want to do is cut off the tip, just the very tip, that little straight part. This is super easy. It's a very soft barrel. You can just go in there with your X-Acto knife and it'll come right off. And then next, what you're going to want to do is go in with your drill bit or your file and sand it out. You want it to be big enough that the the RSVP ink tube can slide through it freely. So yeah, and you saw how fast that was. That took like 2 seconds, and you're good to go. You don't want the hole to be too big in the front though, because you don't want the spring to go through it, but it's really not that hard to get it precise enough, as you just saw. So that's your barrel, you're done with that. The caps are a little bit more difficult, and with these, you're going to do 2 different things. With one, you're going to drill another hole, just like we did with the body of the pen. You're going to drill a hole right in the center, just big enough so that the RSVP ink can slide through it freely. So I'm going to do this real quick. I may fast forward it or not. This seems to be going pretty quickly also. So you just want to have it so that there is nothing obstructing the ink tube. You want it, see, it'll go through for me, but it takes a little bit of force. That's not what you want. You want it to be like, you want it to just be able to fall right through if you just drop it. So, yeah, you just want it to be super duper smooth, as I just said, at least 27 times. So yeah, so still not good enough. It won't just slide right through. And this is important because this will put pressure on the spring, and the spring's not that strong, so it can't overcome the pressure of the squeezing on the ink tube. But it looks like I've got it. That's the test you want to do. Just drop your ink tube. It should fall right through with no assistance. So that's one cap, and that's easy as well. This last cap is not so easy. This one you're going to clear out entirely. You just want to like get rid of the bulge completely so that the HGG tip can fall right through. And this is where you're going to need a drill bit. I personally can't do it with this, or I can, it would just take a really long time, so I use like a heavy duty drill bit or whatever to do this. But I'm just going to start out with this and then go in with a drill bit. I'm going to cut actually and be back when I have it cleared out, because this takes a really long time. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I have drilled holes in all of my caps and my barrel, and I already showed you this one. The test for this is the ink tube should just fall right through. The test for this is the ink tube should be free in it. It should not be have any pressure on it. And this last one, which is the most difficult, to show you there. If you can see that, it goes completely through. And this, you should just be able to drop an HGG tip in there, and it should just fall right through. So yeah, that it didn't take quite as long as the first time I did it, but you just gotta, I don't know, just take a drill bit and twist it in there. Not very difficult. But anyway, on to the next step, which is the ink tube. And this, I think, is the most difficult part, just because the amount of tweaking you have to do to this. So obviously, or not obviously, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the ink tube that the ink doesn't matter. You're not going to be writing with this one. You want to measure about 2.5 centimeters off of the end of this ink tube, and then you're just going to cut it there. And for a normal RSVP ink tube, you see there, it's almost exactly before the ink starts, 2.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to cut that very quickly, and there we go. Just get the ink out of the end so it doesn't go everywhere. Alright, and this you're done with now, so you can set that aside. You won't be needing it. So yeah, this we're going to be taping to there. So, yeah. So what you're going to want to do is take your tape. I use the packing tape for this because it's a little bit stronger than just regular Scotch tape. And just take a thin strip. You won't need very much. And I just go long ways, kind of, about that thick, like maybe an inch and a half-ish. And you're just going to tape that on the end of the other one. And you want this to be pretty straight, but it doesn't really matter too much. As long as it's pretty alright, it should work. Tape this up real quick. You want to have the tape really tight here so that it's not wrinkly and won't obstruct the mechanism, the retractable mechanism. So you definitely want to have it really tight and really not very much. So yeah, that's done. Then next thing you're going to do is measure 4.5 centimeters from the tip of the ink cartridge. The very tip, not where the ink starts, at the tip. Measure 4.5 centimeters and then put a thick amount of tape there. And what you're going to want to do with this is have it thick enough so that the spring of the F301 or whatever, so that that spring can just like stay there and will be tight there or something. You'll see what I mean once I get to that step. But you're just going to want to put on plenty of tape here. This you should have tight and wrinkleless as well. So just be kind of careful with it. So you can see I just put like maybe 2 millimeters of tape on there, 2 millimeters thick, and I just used like an inch like wide there. And then you take your spring, you put it onto your RSVP ink tube that you've just modified, and it shouldn't slide behind the tape. And it doesn't, so we're good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the ink tube. But the ink tube is not completely done yet. You're going to have to tweak it a lot in the final version of the mod. But this, for now, is good. So we have all the parts. Now it's time to put it together and tweak it to perfection. So I'll be right back and talking about that. Alright, so we've assembled all of our parts, and now it is time to put the whole mod together. So what you should have at this point is your cap with a hole drilled in it, your cap that is completely cleared out, your modified ink tube, your retractable mechanism, and your hollowed out and cleaned barrel, and one extra HGG tip. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to screw your HGG tip onto the Comssa cap that has a hole drilled into it. And you want to have this pretty straight so that the ink can go through the HGG tip and the Comssa cap. So there we go. That's easy. And then the next thing is obviously just cap your Comssa with the one that we just screwed the HGG tip onto. Next, take your ink tube, put it into the pen through the hole in the barrel that we drilled, through the hole in the cap, and you want to make it so that it'll go through the tip as well. If you hear that noise, like that, you should not hear that. That means my cap is not aligned correctly. That's better. You just want to have it as silent as possible. Hear that? That's like what you want, because that means there's no obstruction through that whole path. It just goes perfectly through. Then, this is the part with the tweaking. You're going to put your retractable mechanism right into the barrel of the Comssa. And what you want to do here is have it so that the HGG tip comes out of the Comssa enough that it looks like the other side. See, it's too short here, so I gotta move this back a little bit. And now that's good. And then you also want it so that when you click it, the ink comes out. And see, that's not working for me. So I gotta change it up. But before you do that, I forgot this. You need to take the ink of the F301 and see this little black part at the end? You want to take that out of the ink tube. Just like that. The ink tube can be set aside. And you're going to cut off the tip part, or whatever you want to call that. See how there's the flat part and then the long part there? You want to cut off the long part. So, sorry I didn't get to this earlier, kind of forgot about it, but you're just going to want to cut that off, and that long part you can discard. All we need is the flat part. So, after that little tangent, so you're going to put that flat part into your retractable mechanism, and then, as I said before, you're going to put your retractable mechanism into the back of the pen. And this is where the tweaking comes in. See right now, the retractable thing is it's as far back as it can be. And you see the ink there is just freaking out. It's stuck all the way out of the cap. That means that I have to cut the ink tube down a little bit because the ink tube is too long. So I'm just going to cut it down. I'd say probably 3 millimeters. You want to go slowly, so that, because if you cut too much you can't go back, but if you cut too little you can always just cut again. So you want to have it, just do it little by little. And so just stick the retractable mechanism in there, and it looks better but still not good. Also, yeah, this part's really complicated. Also, you want to keep in check how the retractable mechanism is sticking out of the cap. See, there's about good, but it still won't work. Looks like I have probably another 3 millimeters to cut off. So this part, it's all trial and error. This does take quite a bit. First time I did this probably took 30 minutes to get the perfect length of the ink tube. I lost the spring in there. Alright, it's still stuck in there. And every time, remember to put this little piece of the ink tube back into your retractable mechanism. And then I'm going to check again. Doesn't look like I got it. Actually, I might have. Yeah, so it looks like I did get it. What you're looking for here is, you see, if I spun this around like magic, you don't know which side is the retractable side and which isn't. And that's what you want. That's good. Because this tip looks the same as that tip. This tip isn't sticking out too far or in the actual cap. So it looks normal. And that's what you want. You want it to look like a normal metallic Comssa. So that's what you're aiming for. But you're also aiming for, see, the tip of the ink tube is not stuck out, and then when I click it, it is. And you want it to be stuck out just a little bit. You don't want it stuck out all the way, because then it'll get jammed, most likely. So this right here, I think I found the perfect balance. So once you've done that, you found the perfect balance, you're ready to go. What I do is I take my packaging tape, because it's a bit tougher, and just rip off a little bit of it. Probably couldn't hear me because that was pretty loud, but you just take off a little bit of it, and you're just gonna wrap it around the mechanism and the barrel. Just make this a little bit thinner. So you want to have about 3 or 2 millimeters on the actual barrel of the pen, so that it doesn't show when the cap is on. So you're just gonna wrap it up really tight. You want it as tight as you can at this point. And basically you're just going to tape your retractable mechanism on there. If you can, if you want to, you can use the super glue at this point. I just messed that up. Oh man. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to use the super glue on that note because I don't want that to happen to my final mod. So again, I have to tweak it. Looks like I might have got it. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Alright, so we're good to go. And for taping, or not taping, gluing with the super glue, I just take a pencil, and I mark it because the graphite shows up pretty well against the black of the retractable mechanism. And then take my super glue, take the retractable mechanism back out, and then I put just a little bit of super glue on the retractable mechanism. You want to be really careful here to not hit anything except the very edge of the thing, the mechanism. And you want to make sure everything is in there, because you're not going to get it back out once you put it back in. And just line it up with the graphite you just put there, check it again, and let it dry. So yeah, you saw me mess up there, but it's all alright because it worked out. But yeah, so you just let this dry and then add an extra piece of tape on it just for safety measures so that it doesn't go falling apart in the middle of your magical World Cup combo that you're about to get perfectly and stuff. But whatever. Alright, so it's probably dry at this point. And then just tape it up. You guys can probably figure out how to tape things. If you don't, I'd suggest you seek help, or a psychiatrist or something. But yeah, so yeah, you're just gonna tape it on there. Put about 3 millimeters of tape on the barrel of the pen, and the rest should be overhanging onto the retractable mechanism. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Put that cap on there as tight as you can, and there we go. This is, you're done. You just gotta put grips on it. So I'm going to be back and I'm going to put grips on it but if you got into this point, good job, because this mod is not an easy one to make, and if you've gotten to the point where you can just click it super easily, that's good. So I'll be back with grips and everything, and yeah, so I'll be right back. Alright, so that was the tutorial on the retractable metallic Comssa. That's the grip design I went with. So yeah. Sorry that this video was a little bit long. I was not planning on it being this long, but whatever. As long as you guys know how to make the mod, that's what it's all about. So, yeah. Just again, gonna show you both of these. That's pretty much it. I don't really know what else to say. This mod is the same weight pretty much as a metallic Comssa. It's a little bit heavier, but it is still balanced like a metallic Comssa. Voice crack. Yeah, but it's still balanced at least pretty well. I haven't noticed any problems spinning it yet. So yeah, that is the tutorial, guys. I just messed up with both of those. Yeah, that's the tutorial. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Leave any suggestions in the comment section down there, and yeah, like this video if it was helpful also. Bye-bye.